Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States and Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and First Lady Joe Biden, accompanied by Kateo Hilton.
Good afternoon. Wow, there is just so much love in this room. Gosh, Joe, Kamala, Doug, and I are honored to be with you for our very first in-person White House Black History Month celebration. You know, it's great to see so many good friends here with us in the residence. And thank you to DJ D-Nice. Where is he? Ah, there you go. You know, your club quarantine brought us so much joy during the dark moments, and we are so grateful to have you with us today. So thank you for being here. I know before we came out, Kamala and Doug were saying how many times they were in their apartment and they were dancing together, you know, party of two. I can't say the same of Joe, but party of one. The history of our nation, the history of African Americans who helped build our nation, is cataloged in the tangible milestones and moments and trials and triumphs. We remember the names of those who shaped the course of our country and whose hands have written the story of America. Many of those hands belong to you. Yes. Those who have crafted our laws and dismantled injustice, who have penned our poetry and painted our dreams, who have taught the children who will lead us into the future and flown to the heavens to touch our stars. And yet there are threads stitching our history together that can't be captured by books. The laughter that gives us strength when the world feels hard or hopeless. the joy we find in shared purpose and acts of kindness, and the friendships that restore our faith in the world. That's what we celebrate today. A history as beautiful and diverse as our nation, as strong as the voices who continue to demand justice, a legacy driven by love for one another and hope for a brighter future, a heritage cemented by faith, friendship, and joy. Friends, we are honored to welcome you to the White House today. We are honored to share in the happiness of this celebration, and we are humbled to stand with you as we all work for a better future together. Thank you. As many of you know, our Vice President's historic path to the White House began before she could even walk, marching with her parents in the Civil Rights Movement, or at least being pushed in a stroller. Since then, she has dedicated her life to pursuing justice and opportunity for all. She is a partner to Joe, especially on issues like voting rights, and is proud to be the first but not the last. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the I just said that to make you laugh. The Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Thank you, Dr. Biden. Thank you. Please have a seat, everybody. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is so good to meet so many folks and to see so many folks. It's nice to be together under one roof together, isn't it? And, of course, it is an honor to be here with our incredible President, Joe Biden. First Lady, Dr. Joe Biden, and the second gentleman of the United States, my husband, Doug Emhoff. It is wonderful to be here this afternoon, joined by the most esteemed members of the Congressional Black Caucus. And as a former member of the CBC, I know firsthand that the members of the CBC are truly the conscience, not only of the Congress, but of our country. Thank you. Thank you also to all the clergy joining us today who continue to lift the spirits and the condition of so many people in our country. And to the community organizers who work day in and day out to make a difference in the lives of all people in our nation. We are so grateful for you. And we are gathered then at a critical moment in the history of our nation and our world. A moment in which our democratic principles have come under threat. Today, the eyes of the world are on Ukraine and the brave people who are fighting to protect their country and their democracy. And their bravery is a reminder, a most recent reminder, that justice, equality, and freedom must never be taken for granted by any of us. So, friends, Black History Month was established to teach the history that too often has not been taught. The history of Black excellence and leadership in America. and also the history of resistance and resilience in America. And we are clear, Black history is American history. It is living, breathing history. History we create every day. And today, of course, our nation faces many great challenges. Among the greatest is the assault on the freedom to vote, the freedom from which all others flow. It will take an all-hands-on-deck approach to safeguard and strengthen the freedom to vote, and the President and I are committed to securing that freedom, as is everyone here. And that is why I felt such pride and such hope understanding how votes lead to action through elections. It is why I felt such pride and such hope this past Friday when President Joe Biden nominated Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson when he nominated her to sit on the United States Supreme Court. Because as we all know, elections matter. And when folks vote, they order what they want, and in this case, they got what they asked for. I went off script a little bit. And Judge Jackson, of course, will make a phenomenal justice. She is brilliant. She has a brilliant mind and a record of excellence. A record that proves she will administer equal justice. And I don't have to tell everybody here, she has been confirmed on a bipartisan basis 3 times and deserves, therefore, a swift confirmation now. And Judge Jackson will be the first Black woman to sit on our nation's highest court. And as Dr. Joe Biden mentioned, it is with that spirit also that we know she will not be the last. So there is a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to work toward. And in remembering our history, we remember those great American heroes who continue to inspire and motivate us, who continue to remind us through our memory of them and their contribution and sacrifice what our role and responsibility is at this moment in history. And speaking of that, then, when everyone walked into the White House today, I'm sure that you may have seen an exhibit celebrating great Black Americans. On display is a campaign poster from Shirley Chisholm. Barbara Lee, I saw you here today. Books by Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, and Maya Angelou. And a display honoring Dr. Mae Jemison, who I just talked with last week. You know, I'm the head of the Space Council. About her life and her work and her enduring commitment to helping young people find their own path to the stars. In the exhibit, there is also an Ella Fitzgerald vinyl, we used to call it an album, and a Jacob Lawrence painting, which hangs right here in this White House on a permanent basis. And especially significant in this moment, a judicial oath signed by Justice Thurgood Marshall, whose life's work influenced my own. In fact, his portrait hangs currently in the official office of the Vice President of the United States. And a bust of his figure sits in my ceremonial office as well. So as we gather here today and as we prepare to confirm another historic first to our nation's highest court, let us always remember, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Giants in our history, giants in American history, and giants right here in this room. This Black History Month, let us recommit to honoring their legacy with action. Let us continue their fight and our fight for justice and equality and opportunity for all, so that generations to come may stand on our shoulders and reach even greater heights. And history, as I've said many times before, I do believe it to be a relay race. We have been each passed a baton with which we run our part in our pursuit of progress, and we will then pass the baton to the next generation. And in that spirit, it is now my pleasure to introduce a young, brilliant leader who is leading our nation forward with bravery, creativity, and grace and excellence. Please welcome Ceteo Hilton.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Vice President. My name is Ceteo Hilton. I am 18 years old, and I grew up in Washington, D.C., just a few miles from here. During Black History Month, I paid closer attention to the street names I walked by, like Nannie Helen Burroughs, who fought for educational equity for Black women. And I learned about the history she made in the community where I am from. I learned about the many leaders who have come before, whether they created change in their community or changed the world. Black History Month also celebrates the history we continue to make. I am a junior mentor at Light Pieces to Masterpieces, a youth development and mentoring organization for Black boys in my community. In a world full of violence and negativity, Life Pieces to Masterpieces gives us a space to be safe, express ourselves authentically, and create new Black history every single day. I have been a part of this same program since I was 4. Since starting high school at McKinley Technology, I have dedicated over 600 hours to meeting with my younger peers, whether it's by helping with their homework, supporting them with their creative expression, or accompanying them on the van to help them to make sure that they get home safely every single night. In just a few months, I will go to Delaware State. Which I know President Biden will be happy to hear about. I plan to graduate from this HBCU and attend a law school, because I have to be that Black history for my younger brothers at Life Pieces. They need to see an example of someone who sets a goal and commits to it, no matter what obstacles they may face. That's what Black history has done for me. That's what my own mentors at Light Pieces have done for me. And that's what the Vice President has done for me, in blazing her own trail. And that's what the president has done for me, creating jobs and opportunities and leading an administration that includes more people who look like me than I could ever imagine. Now, without further ado, the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Well, Cateo, I tell you what, you didn't know we have a little ongoing thing in the administration. As you mentioned, there are a fair number of African Americans in high places in my administration. But, and I'm always hearing about Howard Grade School. I'm hearing about Morgan Man. I'm hearing about, all these other things. But I keep talking about Delaware State. And although I went to the University of Delaware, I tell you there's an old expression. I tell you who brung me to the dance. Delaware State University is in the middle of my state in Dover, Delaware. And we have the 8th largest black population in America as a percent of population. And the lower 2 counties are fairly conservative compared to the northern county. And I operated out of Delaware State for a significant portion of my career and campaign, as the gentlewoman from the state of Delaware can tell you. And there was a guy named Tony Allen who used to work for me for years. He went out and he got his PhD. Then he left and became a president. He's not Tony Stand-Up, president of Delaware State University. I learned a long time from good friends of mine in Delaware in the civil rights community that if you want to know where the real power in America lies, it's in the Divine Nine. We're the only administration in history that actually has an office, right, Jim? We have a Divine Nine office. So I understand. I understand, as they say, who brung me to the dance. And all kidding aside, you're going to be incredible, old buddy. You're going to do well. You're going to do very well. And, there is I don't know whether they've been introduced, but my Secretary of Defense, Secretary Austin. So you stand up. My Secretary of Housing, Secretary Fudge. My administrator, guy who's running, taking care of the EPA and all the rest from Carolinas, the Administrator Regan. An acting director of OMB, the woman has controls all the money, Shalanda Young. And a woman who, I really mean it, has let the whole world know who we are. No, really. A woman who has been so incredibly effective in her job, but until recently, till the outrage of Putin and the Soviet Union, trying to reestablish the Soviet Union, basically, but in Russia, to hear her, to listen to her, run the debates at the Security Council as well as the General Assembly at the United Nations, Thomas-Greenfield. Linda. And a woman who knows a little bit about the economy, chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, Cecilia. I kid her all the time, being from Princeton, but And Rowan. Cecilia, congratulations. Thank you. And Mr. Secretary, I'm talking about Cateo right now. I think they're ready to elect you anything you want to be, pal. Look, I want to welcome everyone to the White House. It's been a long drought the last year and a half, not being able to have not just Black History Month, but not able to have any gathering here at the White House of any crowd at all. And it's good to have you back. It's wonderful to be able to host this event in person. And it's great to see so many friends. If I begin calling the roll, we'll be all night here, and I don't want to do that. But so many significant leaders who've changed the face of America sitting in the audience, not on the stage. So thank you all so very, very, very much. My name is Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband. And as you've probably figured out, I can't dance. I do it, but I ain't good at it. And, oh, man, you have a great opportunity now, don't you, Julie? Tomorrow, I'm going to be delivering the State of the Union address. And today, I simply want to thank you for all you've done for me, for all of the country. So much has been accomplished in the people in this room. Black History Month is more than a celebration. It's a powerful, powerful reminder that Black history is American history. Black culture is American culture. Black stories are essentially an ongoing story of America. I see it every day with the Vice President and the incredible job she's doing. We see it in the Black members of my cabinet and the White House staff and who are here today, who serve to defend the nation, protect the planet, build the economy, deliver housing, jobs, and justice. And we see it in the tireless, heroic efforts of the Congressional Black Caucus. And I'm going to embarrass him now. I want a former chairman of the Black Caucus has come over to help me run things. Cedric, stand up. Let everybody see you. I never played golf till I was 46 years old. I got to be pretty good. And then I asked Cedric to help me in my campaign. Then I played golf and he beat the hell out of me. I wish I'd never done it. I don't know. And so many state and local leaders and faith leaders here, lawyers, educators that are here today. And of course, we see another first in the nomination of Ketanji. Well, you saw her. I guess you saw Justice Brown Jackson, who is on the Circuit Court of Appeals right now. She is an incredible woman. This is a woman who graduated magna cum laude from Harvard. She was the editor of the Law Review. She has done so many other things, but I want to make it clear, not only is she eminently qualified, there were so many others I had to choose from. I can tell you, Jim has supported all the nominees, but the one he most supported was from South Carolina. I've already nominated her to be on the Circuit Court of Appeals, the second highest court in the nation. Judge Jackson is going to be an outstanding justice. She's part of an incredible group of Black women who I've nominated to the federal bench. We've nominated more Black women to the federal bench than any administration in the history of the United States of America. Well, I made that commitment when I was running for president, and I've tried to keep that commitment my whole career. You know, and the first executive order I signed when I came into office, and it was with Cedric's help, I sat down, put pencil to paper, or pen to paper, and signed I instructed every single element of my administration, every department, from the Defense Department to the Justice Department and on, that equity should be the center of all of what we do. And we did that in the COVID-19 response. Remember at the beginning, everyone was concerned whether or not, as usual, African Americans would be left behind. Well, we helped We help raise the vaccination rate among black Americans and bring it on par with white adults, all same across the board. And I want to thank the members of the Black Coalition Against COVID represented here today as well. And I also want to thank Derek Jones also as D-Nice for being, stand up, man. Let them see who you are. He provided a soundtrack of hope to keep our spirits up during the worst days of that pandemic. And thank you, man. You know, when I took office, I said the American story depends not on how many of us, any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us. On all of us. So we're investing in all of us. So many of you here helped enact the American Rescue Plan to deliver immediate economic relief, with rescue checks to tax cuts to eliminate. And the estimate is that we've cut black poverty by over 30%. We reduced child poverty by more than 50% in the black community. The American Rescue Plan also included historic funding that allows cities and states to invest in community violence intervention programs and keep neighborhoods safe. Look, you're critical in getting the infrastructure law passed, the bipartisan bill that's going to do so much. It's going to replace decades of disinvestment in the United States of America. A commitment to reconnecting communities and people and job opportunities. So much with the early investments in highways and interstate, they cut neighborhoods in half. They divided things. We can put it back together again. Clean water, high-speed internet. We're going to eliminate every lead pipe in America so our children don't have to worry about whether they're drinking poisoned water in effect. And as part of that law, we made Minority Business Development Agency permanent and seeded it with $110 million so black businesses can get the capital they need to grow. And I'm also proud to be joined by Opal Lee when we made the Juneteenth the first federal holiday in the last 40 years. It's good to see Ms. Lee here. You know, we made landmark investments of $5.8 billion in historic black colleges and universities, not just because we got some serious advocates for Howard and Morehouse and other HBCUs you've heard of, like Delaware and others, but all kidding aside, because they offer so much promise to the nation, so much promise. It's good to see many HBCU leaders here tonight, including Dr. Devon Williams of Delaware State, Tony of Delaware State, chair of the board of advisors of HBCUs. And look, and I want all of you to know, we're ready to closely investigate the cowardly, un-American bomb threats against HBCUs. That's underway. We have so much more to do as a nation in making everyday things more accessible and affordable. As my friend Jim Clyburn says, that's the test of whether government delivers. Are they accessible and affordable? Prescription drugs, child care, housing, make health care more affordable, and make progress on black maternal health, something that Kamala has been leading the effort on. To end cancer as we know it, by putting science and technology to work to address the inequities in testing and diagnosis and access to care. And, you know, we've got to work to deliver police and criminal justice reform as well. Even though Congress isn't acting, we are making changes in federal law enforcement policies, banning chokeholds, restriction on no-knock warrants, requirements on for federal agents to wear and activate their body cameras, ending the Department of Justice use of private prisons. All this is happening. And the Justice Department has opened pattern and practice investigations for systemic police misconduct in several key police departments in the country. We've just got to stay on it. With your help, we're going to keep pushing on this. And we're protecting our country's threshold liberty, the sacred right to vote, which I've never seen is under such attack. You know, it's always made it harder for blacks to vote, but this is trying to be able to figure out how to keep the black vote when it occurs from even counting. Over the past year, we've directed federal agencies to promote access to voting. We've appointed top civil rights advocates to help the U.S. Department of Justice, which has doubled the number of voting rights enforcement folks on their staff. And again, we call on Congress, Pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act. We can do this. The American people agree with us. Black and white, Hispanic and all. Let me conclude with this. Look, I don't want to take much more of your time, but let me conclude with this. I know progress can be slow and frustrating, but I also know it's possible. If we work together, if we keep the faith, if we remember the changes and charges that were passed down to us from all those who came before us, many sitting in this room right now. You've heard, as you've heard, we had a wonderful exhibit downstairs celebrating Black History Month. And I want to thank Lonnie Bunch and the Smithsonian, as well as the Library of Congress for giving us access to their collection. When I introduced Judge Jackson on Friday, out in the hallway here, I thought about the display that holds the signature of the judicial oath of office sworn and signed by Thurgood Marshall himself. It was Justice Marshall who reminded us in a speech shortly before he died, and I quote, "America can do better because America has no choice but to do better." America has no choice but to do better. It's a powerful reminder of the history of the journey of America and the power each of us hold to write more just and hopeful chapter. And I really mean it. I am more optimistic about our chances to bring equity to this country than we ever had before now. And if you wonder about it, just take a look. Take a look at the different. reason I have so much hope is the younger generation. Those folks from grade school through 30 years of age. Look at what's going on. Look at how they act with one another. There's not this isolation. There is everything you see from television commercials down to how we act with one another. We have so much going for us. We got to just let them have their shot. Folks, I want to thank you all for being here. I really mean it. I want to thank you for all you've done, all that we can do, and being committed that we're going to do so much more. So thank you, thank you, thank you. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats as the President and the First Lady and the Vice President and the Second Gentleman depart the East Room. Thank you.
Can you come down so we can see? Mr. President, should Americans be worried about nuclear war?
No.